How's it going, everyone, and welcome to the premiere of Buddy's House of Horror 2021 Marathon. Of course, I'm going to be making 31 videos in 31 days, hopefully, and I'm going to be starting things off with one of the things I did in the very first season of the House of Horror and going through all of my horror Blu-rays and DVDs. I'll give you a better introduction on what the House of Horror actually is in the first episode of the podcast that's coming out tomorrow. But today is just going to be going through all of these DVDs and Blu-rays. I'm not even going to be touching the VHS today. That can be a whole video in and of itself. Maybe this year, maybe next year, we will see. If you remember the original video when I went through all of these DVDs and Blu-rays a few years back, I mentioned you always got to make sure that you have space. And as you can see, I have run out of space. I have things in front because I don't have any room to stick things side by side anymore. Eventually, I'm probably going to have to do 2x2 on this shelf or get a whole nother shelf just for horror. Yes, these are just my horror films. And again, this isn't that big of a collection, but for me, this is quite a bit. And again, this is just sort of an update from the original video I did about 3 or 4 years ago, whenever that was. So we're just going to go and dive right into this. I'm going to try to do this with as many, with as little edits as possible, but I am just going to knock out these ones in the front first and then remove them so we can look at all the ones in the back. So this is not a VHS. Well, it is a VHS. It's not a DVD or Blu-ray, obviously. This is my VHS copy of Coven, directed by Mark Borchardt. This is a copy, I hope, that it's one of the originals. It says it's from the year 2000, so I'm hoping that this was one of the ones he was originally trying to sell to finance his feature film. It's numbered here, and I know he was trying to sell 3,000, so this is under 3,000. So I'm hoping this is one of the originals, but if not, it's still really cool that it's old, because this film is one of my favorite indie horror films. American Movie is one of my favorite movies in general. So I'm really happy to have this in my collection. I keep it with all of the DVDs and Blu-rays because I don't really have anywhere with the VHS to like showcase one except for up there on the top, but that's pretty full. So I like to keep it here. It fits the vibe. But again, it's a VHS, so it doesn't really count. But I gotta flex that any chance I can that I have that. And here's the little ghosty man. If you like the little ghosty man, leave me a thumbs up down below on the YouTube version of this. I am gonna upload this to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that kind of stuff, so you can get the audio version if you just want to hear what I have in my collection without seeing it. Because I guess really you just need to hear what it is. You don't have to see it, but the video version is obviously preferred. So if you guys are on one of those podcast streaming sites and you want to head over to the YouTube page, that is preferred. Courage the Cowardly Dog, the complete series on DVD. I keep this with my horror films just because I like having it out in front and I think it fits the vibe. I do have a collection of animation horror stuff, and maybe I'll cut that in and show you guys. Alright, boys and ghouls, so I did decide that I'm going to cut in and show you some of my horror-related animation stuff from over on another shelf. I keep my animation away from everything else on a separate location from the horror films. But I do want to give a quick disclaimer before I get too deep into everything else. I'm not going to be going super in-depth about any of these films, because obviously, if I even spent like a minute talking about each of these films, we'd be here for like 200 plus minutes, and you know, that's just not what I'm trying to do today. So we're just going to start off here with the horror animation. Starting off with Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Love Wallace and Gromit, probably my favorite claymation duo, even though they don't have much competition. I guess Jack and Sally. I love Wallace and Gromit so much. We've got Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog, straight out of nowhere. Not going to talk much about this one, because I may be talking about it at a later date. Ooh. We've got Scooby-Doo, WrestleMania Mystery, with John Cena and some other superstars. We've got Paranorman, very great film. If you haven't seen it, definitely check that one out. We've got Monsters vs. Aliens. Not only does it have monsters, it has aliens. We got the Hotel Transylvania films. I think they're great, fun films. I haven't seen the third one, nor have I seen the new one. I'm not sure if the fourth one's out yet, but the first two are great. Love the first two. We got Coraline. We got The Corpse Bride. And we've got some Batman films that are kind of spooky. The Mask of the Phantasm and The Killing Joke. Not the greatest film adaptation of The Killing Joke. They could have done a little bit better with that, but still great. And then we got 9, which is about aliens and creatures, and it's really cool. So those are the horror animation, and now back to the main video. But regardless, so here's Courage here. And then, so I've got the Ed Wood box set, which includes more than just Ed Wood's horror films. It has Jailbait, which is a comedy, I believe. And most of his stuff is like sci-fi horror mix. I love these films. They're definitely so bad that they're good. And I love the film Ed Wood as well, directed by Tim Burton. It's probably my favorite Tim Burton film. But the Ed Wood box set, gotta love it. The Friday the 13th collection by Shout Factory. This is my most recent big purchase. I'm finally able to get all of them on Blu-ray, and it works out well because having this out in front here, it's actually in front of the old crappy ones. But this set is an amazing set. There was a lot of controversy because some of the things in this set, like the discs, were ruined. But literally all you have to do is go to the website and type in that you ordered it, proof of purchase, and they're going to send you the updated disc, which I did. Midnight Miles still has not got his updated discs yet. So this is a really good set. I highly recommend it, but definitely make sure that you reach out to the company and get the updated versions of, I think, 3 of the films that are a little bit messed up. So they could have taken a little more time putting that thing together, but you know what? It is what it is. Next, I've got Night Gallery, the complete series, and Twilight Zone, the complete series. Night Gallery is underrated. I mean, a lot of the episodes aren't that great. But there are a few standout ones. Twilight Zone, obviously a classic. We'll probably be talking about Twilight Zone a little bit later on this month. I've got The Munsters, which, hint, hint, we may or may not be talking about that tomorrow. So less said about that, the better. The classic Monsters films, the Universal film. It's not every Universal film, it's just the major ones from their main franchises like Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, all that good stuff. They don't have a lot of the obscure ones in there. But I love that set. I wish that they would... I guess I don't really need it on Blu-ray, but it would be nice to have a good set with the major monsters and all of them. All the Universal films that they ever did. Just release a monster box set. Get it? Monster box set. But anyway, so over here I've got Horror Hall of Fame, which is basically one of those shitty movie packs that has a bunch of very weird, often low-budget, public domain movies. But they feature some horror icons, they've got Boris Karloff, Vincent Price, stuff like that. So there's some decent stuff in here, but nothing really noteworthy. And then I have Vampire on Criterion. I still want to check this one out. I haven't seen it yet. It's basically a silent film. It was made at the same time as Dracula with Bela Lugosi. So sound films were very, very new. So this film is basically a silent film, even though it does have some dialogue in it. It's pretty much a silent film. So, all right, I'm going to get rid of these, and then we'll start back up at the top. All right, I'm going to start from the top, maybe a do-over. Only I'm not doing over anything. Get it if you understand the reference, whatever. No one fucking cares about me. Okay, so we got 28 Days Later. We've got Adjust Your Tracking, which, of course, is not a horror film in a sense, but it's a documentary about collecting VHS, of course, by the illustrious Dan Kinham. A lot of the ones that I had during my last thing, I'm not going to go too in-depth about. I had Adjust Your Tracking in that last time as well with a lot of these. I have the Adjust Your Tracking big box right next to some of my horror memorabilia up here. Gotta shout out Nightmare. Even though this is the DVD collection, Nightmare horror VHS game, incredible. Shout out to the Owlman, Laurie Brewster, the GOAT, and my boys. So anyway... So we got Adjust Your Tracking, we've got Alien 3. I still have not acquired the rest of the Alien franchise, but I need to go ahead and do that at some point. But I do have AVP. So that is one I think has been added since last time I checked in with you guys. I've got AVP, so thank Christ. I've got the Addams Family and Addams Family Values. Of course, classic films. May or may not be talking about those tomorrow as well. We've got the 4-movie marathon pack ranked under A for Altered, but it's got Slither, Crywolf, and The Return. I've never seen any of these. I think I've seen bits and pieces of Slither. It has some great special effects in it, but I haven't seen the whole film. I've got the Amityville Horror with James Brolin. I've got this other Amityville, Mount Misery Road, literally still in the plastic. Might stay in the plastic forever. I don't know if that's ever one that's worthy of getting popped open. If you've seen this, let me know if I need to take this out of the plastic and watch it. We've got American Psycho. We've got An American Werewolf in London, perhaps the greatest werewolf film of all time. We've got Army of Darkness, which I rank under A instead of with the Evil Dead films because I think it's kind of disconnected, and I think it works well in A because I also have Ash versus the Evil Dead. I guess I could put them all together, but this is just kind of the way that I sort my stuff. We've got The Babadook. I wish I had the version that's the book, the actual Babadook book, but I just have the regular Blu-ray. So we've got Backyard Gore by my pal Gore Filth. This was put out by Tony Masiello, SOVhorror.com. Crazy, crazy film, a lot of fun, go check it out. We've got Peter Jackson's Bad Taste. Your boy Pete was making some crazy films before he made Lord of the Rings. We've got the Banana Splits movie, which is a twist on the 60s series that I watched as a child. My mother watched it as a child, but it's basically like the... So while I was talking about this, my phone actually ran out of storage. So I had to go in there and delete a billion old podcasts that I'm never going to listen to, like the Dis Unplugged and stuff like that, because I'm just so out of the loop. I had to delete like 12 gigs of podcasts just to keep recording this video. So anyway, the Banana Splits movie, it's kind of like a Five Nights at Freddy's scenario, and we're going to be moving on. So we got Basket Case, most terrifying film on the planet. Basket Case 2 on Blu-ray, which I need to rewatch. I feel like I didn't give this film the proper chance the first time I watched it. Need to get the third one, need to get the Progeny. You know the goddamn deal, bruh. So we got the Bela Lugosi 3-pack, which I have under B for Bella. We got White Zombie, The Corpse Vanishes, and Scared to Death. I've got The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. I need to see this. This is an early Dario Argento film. I know it's one of Miles's favorites. I've always been intrigued by the box art on this one. I absolutely love the artwork for it. I need to check out the film. Really looking forward to doing that. Got the Black Cat. I've got the Black Gloves. So if you have a black cat wearing black gloves, it's like double bad luck, especially if it's on Black Sabbath. We've got the Blob, the original Blob. I'm probably the least high grade quality DVD I've ever seen. The quality on this particular release is absolutely horrible. We've got Blood Lake, of course, directed by Tim Boggs. One of my favorite things to have in my collection. Stoked that that's finally on DVD. We've got The Burning with your boy George Costanza and Cropsey. Got Cabin in the Woods, very interesting film by Joss Whedon. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. If you guys haven't seen it already, I did a whole commentary about the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari last year. We've got Carnival of Souls. I did a 15 Phenomenal Facts video about this one last year. Absolutely adore both of those films, just like I adore my next film, Carrie. We've got Cinematic Catastrophes, which is a bunch of short films from Cinemassacre, James Rolfe, the AVGN. Great stuff there. We've got Christine, and we've got this Chucky box set that has all of the Chucky films that they had out before Cult of Chucky. And then I have Cult of Chucky on Blu-ray, obviously. I don't have the remake. I didn't particularly care for the remake. I'd like to get it in my collection, but it's not something I was like dying to get or anything. We got Cloverfield, the film that brought back the modern day movie monster. We've got At Midnight I'll Take Your Soul and This Night I Possess Your Corpse. They're alphabetized under Coffin Joe, the lead character. Love the artwork on those ones. I've got Creepshow and Creepshow 2. I prefer Creepshow 2 over Creepshow 1. We've got Daughter of Horror, which is the film that they're watching in The Blob. I've got Dawn of the Dead on DVD. Miles and I are going to be... Well, we did talk about Dawn of the Dead in my Top 10 Horror Sequels podcast, just like Day of the Dead. He had one of those films on his list, and I had one on mine. I'll let you listen to the episode to see who picked what. I've got The Day That the Earth Stood Still. I've got Dead Alive again. Your boy P.D. Jackson, my dude. Dead and Breakfast, really insane film. We've got The Dead Zone. Your boy Stephen King, not the Dragon Ball Dead Zone. Got The Deader the Better, another Cinemassacre film. Love Cinemassacre. It's the reason I started the House of Horror to begin with. I've got Death Note, the first one, on DVD. I have the second one as well, but for that, we're moving on to the next shelf. So we got Death Note 2. I haven't seen any of these yet. I want to really, really bad. We've got Deathgasm. If you ever want to have a an orgasm of death, this is the film for you. Got this for significantly less than $4.99. This was when Family Video was going out of business. RIP to Family Video. We got Death Proof. We got The Descent, which is one of the first horror films I have memories of because my cousin Elizabeth saw it and she said it was the scariest thing of all time. Got The Devil's Machine by Laurie Brewster. Check out all my reviews of Laurie Brewster's films if you guys haven't already. We've got The Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses. We've got the Diabolique. We've got another classic from Tony Masiello's line, SOVhorror.com, The Dingleberries. We got a lot of Draculas in a row. If you can see all these Draculas. I got Dracula, Bela Lugosi. I've got Dracula from Francis Ford Coppola in a pack with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I've got Coppola's Dracula on my brand new 4K. I think this is the most recent thing that I've purchased. We've got Dan Curtis's Dracula. We've got the Dracula with Frank Langella. And we've got Christopher Lee Dracula 4-pack. We've got Dracula Dead and Loving It from your boy Mel Brooks and Leslie Nielsen. Got Drag Me to Hell, Sam Raimi, the guy behind Evil Dead. Great film. We've got Mark Borchart's The Dundee Project. Love Mark Borchardt. Reviewed this film. It was either last year or the year before on the House of Horror, so definitely go check that one out. We've got From Dusk Till Dawn. We've got Ed Wood. I already talked about Ed Wood a little bit when I was discussing the box set, but probably my favorite Tim Burton film. We got Eraserhead. Really crazy David Lynch film. I've talked about Eraserhead on the show before. We've got Ernest Scared Stupid. Not completely a horror film, obviously, but I like keeping it with my horror films. We got Evil Dead, the first one, and we've got my favorite, Evil Dead 2. I really got to look into getting these ones on Blu-ray because the quality of these DVDs is not very good. All right, so I did decide to pull the trigger and get Evil Dead 2 on 4K. And of course, as soon as I do this, the very next day from when this arrived in the mail, it's still in the shrink wrap, they announced the new 4K collection of all of them. And you know what? That's not groovy. Now I gotta buy it again or return this one or give it away or whatever because I gotta get that box set. Not groovy. Not groovy that I did this. Oh well. Goodbye. I've got The Eye. With Jessica Alba. I saw this in theaters way back in the day. Miles notoriously despises this film. I haven't seen it since that time I saw it in theaters. We've got Eyes Without a Face. I really want to check this one out on Criterion. Jared and I were supposed to watch this together, but he watched it without me because he's a complete asshole, but it's fine. I've got the Exorcist films. So I've got The Exorcist, got Exorcist 2, The Heretic, Exorcist 3, which was based off the book called Legion. I thought it was tagline Legion, but I guess not. And I've got the weird Exorcist prequels. So I've got The Exorcist The Beginning and Exorcist Dominion. I'm hoping to do a double feature of these ones at some point in my life. We've got Extraordinary Tales, which is adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe stories. We've got The Fly and The 80s Fly, both of them in one set. I still need to see Fly 2, and I still need to see Return of the Fly, the sequels to both of the Fly films. I've got another copy of Frankenstein. I've got Bride of Frankenstein, and I have The Ghost of Frankenstein and Son of Frankenstein. Of course, these are all included in that big box set that I have, but I also have them on their own. We've got For We Are Many, which I reviewed last year on the show, another Laurie Brewster film. We've got Friday the 13th, a bunch of the films together in one set, a really crappy set, which is why I'm so glad that I have the Shout Factory one now. Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, Freddy vs. Jason. We got Fright Night. We've got Get Out. We've got A Ghost Story, which I still need to see at some point. We have The Girl on the Third Floor with CM Punk. We gotta watch that one. I tried to get my boys to watch this with me for years, but they never will. Still need to see A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. This has been one that's been on my list for a while. Supposed to be a very, very good vampire flick, and I'm really looking forward to checking that one out. I've got Godzilla King of the Monsters, the English version. I've got Godzilla 2014, Gareth Edwards, and I've got Godzilla, the original Gojira. I guess while we're over here, I guess I'll showcase for a second my Godzilla collection. So of course I have all of the original ones on VHS, and I have the Criterion set of all the Godzilla films. I'm not going to go through this one because it has some exclusive artwork that you can only see by purchasing this set. And I'm sure you could Google it, but you know what? I'm going to leave that a mystery because I would rather you guys go and buy this incredible Blu-ray set of the Godzilla films. And we're going to be talking about this on a future episode of Jared and I's new podcast with Midnight Miles, which the name is yet to be determined, but we are going to be talking about those on the show. I've got a Goosebumps DVD. This was from that eBay unboxing I did a few years ago. Still haven't watched it, probably never will. Moving on to the next row. So we've got Gremlins, a classic film. Gremlins. Gremlins 2, which some people prefer to the original. I don't know, they're both so crazy. It's weird to even have them in the horror films, as I struggle to put either of these away. This is a very professional show, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the vibe of the House of Horror this year. Unscripted, unprepared, very laid back, and if I make a mistake, I'm just going to keep rolling with it because I'm documenting the human experience, and you know what? That's just how it goes sometimes. You guys love me with all of my mistakes. We got the Hagstone Demon, again, Mark Borchardt. A lot of Mark Borchardt in my collection. We've got all the Halloween films. I don't think I need to pull all of these out for you guys. I'll pull out Halloween 4 because it's such a weird release. Because it has this giant case, but then the case is just in like a little CD case on the inside. Since last time I've gotten the producer's cut, I may have had this last time, but the producer's cut of Halloween 6, still haven't seen the Blu-ray version of it. I saw like the crappy bootleg version of it years and years ago. Of course, I've still got H2O, Resurrection, Rob Zombie's Halloween, the Halloween documentary, 25 Years of Terror, and the Halloween new version. Still waiting for Halloween Kills to come out in a few weeks. Very, very excited for Halloween Kills. We've got Hatchet. And see, look, I'm struggling again, ladies and gents. Struggling again, but that's what happens when you only have one hand. That's what happens, man. And you know what makes it the worst thing? It's hard to do this because they're so crammed. Because I have so many of them, it's hard to even put them out and back together. I need like some space to even just pull them out comfortably. We've got The Haunting. We've got Haxan Witchcraft Through the Ages. Love that film. One of my favorite silent films. You can check out my list of my favorite silent films if you want more information on that. I've got Hellraiser on a DVD. I have a Hellraiser double feature DVD of Hellraiser 1 and 2. And then I have a Hellraiser 6-pack, which has a bunch of the shitty sequels like Hellworld and all that kind of stuff that I still need to see. Of course, I have Hell at Heathridge, which is the film that I worked on while I was in college. I'm just going to leave this out because it'll make it easier for me to pull some of these out if there's more space. We've got Hereditary. We have House, one of my favorite new horror films. Well, it's not a new horror film, but one of my new favorites that I've discovered. Watched this for the first time last year. Really, really great, crazy film. I've got American House. I also have Hunchback of Notre Dame and Nosferatu, a double pack. I have Idle Hands, a comedy, but I like keeping it with my horror films as well. Incubus with Billy Boy Shatner. We got In Search of Darkness, Part 1 and Part 2. Probably be talking about those at some point on the show. We've got The Initiation. Finally watched this earlier this year, maybe it was last year. Very different film from what I expected. It doesn't mean it's necessarily better or worse than what I was thinking of, but it was very, very different. We've got Insidious. We have Insidious Chapter 2. I think if you watch these two together, you've got a great double feature. I love the way that they tie in together. We've got Interview with the Vampire. A great film. Intruder, one of my favorite slashers. We've got Island of Lost Souls on Criterion. We've got It by Stephen King. Got It Follows, not by Stephen King. We got Jaws, Steven Spielberg's opus that started the blockbusters we all know today, and Jurassic Park, following it up basically 20 years later with another giant blockbuster, which he's known for, obviously. We got Ju-on the Grudge. Got Killer Clowns from Outer Space still in the packaging. I don't know how I acquired that one. We got the King Kong box set, the original King Kong. Got Krampus. We got Legend of the Blue Hole, another Cinemassacre film. I've got Leprechaun Origins with your boy Hornswoggle. We got Let the Right One In. Still need to see this again. I saw it like in passing a while ago, and I don't really remember too much about it. But really looking forward to checking that one out again. I have now been seated onto the floor. I'm probably gonna have to lay down for the last shelf. So I've got The Lighthouse on Blu-ray, which I'll leave out to make some more space. And I've got The Lodge, which I bought on eBay, and I thought it would at least come with the case. It's literally, they fucked me. Look at this. They gave me a CD case with the fucking weird-ass shit on it. Like, what the hell is that bullshit? So I'm back. I actually got a phone call, which screwed up the video, obviously. So we've got Lord of Tears, Laurie Brewster, my guy. We got Lost Colony, which is some weird film that my dad got me on when he was at fucking Goodwill one day. Love the guy. So we got The Love Witch, one of my new favorite films, because this was an actual new film. Love the atmosphere with that one. There was one scene in this film that I absolutely despise. I wish it was not in the film. It completely ruins the immersion, but I love the film nonetheless. The Man with the Screaming Brain, Bruce Campbell, one of the GOATs of the genre. We got Mandy. Still need to see Mandy. This film has eluded me for years. Even though I have it, there's just never been a good chance for me to watch it. We've got Maniac, one of the craziest head explosions of all time. We've got The Monsters Crash the Pajama Party. I actually tried to do this with my wife. It's like an interactive kind of DVD where you go and you click on all the menus and a bunch of crazy things happen, but we just weren't in the vibe for it. So that's one thing we're gonna have to try some other time. Manos, The Hands of Fate, which is often regarded as one of the worst films of all time, right there with Plan 9 from Outer Space. We got your boy, Mighty Joe Young, Discount King Kong, basically the third film in the Kong franchise. Even though it's not like really technically related, it basically is, I believe. Miners Massacre, this came from Jared's garage, and that's probably where it should have stayed. We got Misery by Stephen King, of course. One of my favorite films. It is a flawed film and a flawed story because, I don't know, obviously that this girl has history of like stalking and like all this like weird stuff, and the town just doesn't do anything about it. And then she abducts this dude. So this film, when you think about it too much, it's a little flawed, but it's one that, like, if you can suspend your disbelief, it's pretty good. And as I said, I'm sitting on my Creepy Co. Jason rug. I'm sitting spread eagle so you guys can see it. It's a comfy rug to sit on, I guess. This is my first time ever sitting on it. We got The Mothman Prophecies. We got Mr. Ice Cream Man, another Tony Masiello production. He didn't make the film, but he put it out on his DVD label. We got The Mummy. We got Murder Party. That's the Hammer version of The Mummy. Should have specified that. We got My Bloody Valentine 3D. Natasha Knighty's Boudoir of Blood. This is a Tony Masiello production. He made this film for SOVHorror.com. We got The Night Stalker and its sequel, The Night Strangler. I would say that these are guilty pleasure films, but guilty pleasure sort of implies that they're bad. They're absolutely not bad, but these are my underrated gems, I guess. And of course, Kolchak, The Night Stalker, which is the television series that happened after The Night Stalker. A film and a series I'm looking forward to talking about at some point in the future. It was originally slated to come out with the House of Horror this year in October, but I'm thinking of saving it for the 50th anniversary, which is coming up pretty soon. We got Night of the Creeps, one of Miles's favorites. We got Night of the Living Dead, everyone's favorite. One of the greatest films of all time. We got Nightbreed with your boy Nicholas Vince as the Crimson Moon Headman. We got these really crappy Nightmare on Elm Street sets. I really need to upgrade my set of Nightmare on Elm Street. We got Nosferatu. We got the version with Klaus Kinski, of course, directed by Werner Herzog, one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. We got Oculus, Mike Flanagan, one of my favorite modern filmmakers working today. We got this Omen box set, which has a few of the Omen films in it. We got Pan's Labyrinth by your boy Guillermo del Toro. We got Paranormal Activity, the first 3 on a Blu-ray set, and then we have 4. I still don't have a copy of Ghost Dimension and the Mark ones. I really need to round out the set, even if I don't plan on watching them. I need the full collection, you know what I mean? We got Party Line, which was a free film that I got with another film. It was like included in the box. We got Pet Sematary by Stephen King, the original. We've got Phantasm, very, very interesting film. The Phantom Carriage, another one of my favorite silent films of all time. And one of the favorite things in my collection because I love getting Criterions, obviously, because I'm a snob. We got Phantom of the Opera, the most famous one. I was about to say the first one, but it's actually, I don't believe it's the first one. We got Poltergeist, of course, Tobe Hooper and Spielberg, and Poultrygeist, of course, Lloyd Kaufman, of course. We got Prom Night with your girl Jamie Lee. We got Psycho 2, Psycho 3, and Psycho 4. I've only ever seen Psycho 2. One of these days I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and watch Psycho 3 and Psycho 4. Maybe we'll do an episode of Underrated Films about that one at some point. I'm jumping around on my fucking ass here, fucking moving all around. But you know what? You're coming to the Buddy's House of Horror to hang out with Buddy. The horror is secondary. You're coming here because you guys are my friends and you like me. We got Pumpkinhead Collector's Edition. We've got Raw, the film about a vegetarian who then craves human flesh. Haven't seen it yet. I really am looking forward to it. Got Reanimator. And then we've got Resident Evil 6 film collection. Again, I haven't seen all of these. One of these days I'm going to have to bite the bullet and watch all of the Resident Evil films. I've got Return of the Living Dead. And now we move on to the final shelf. I'm probably going to have to lay down for this one if I can be honest with you guys. So if my voice sounds like shit, it's because I'm laying on my chest. We've got The Return of the Vampire with Bela Lugosi, and it's not the Wolfman, but it's basically the Wolfman. It's a werewolf, just like Dracula is in this, but it's not actually Dracula, but it's pretty much Dracula. Keeping it out. We've got Rosemary's Baby. I don't really like Rosemary's Baby that much. We've got the Rocky Horror Picture Show, a film I will only watch in a group or at a screening. So basically it's in my collection if a big group of people ever want to watch it with me. We've got Room 237, which is the documentary about all the conspiracy theories surrounding Stephen King's The Shining, the Kubrick version, actually. We've got Salem's Lot, the original miniseries. I haven't seen the 2000 series. We've got the Saw complete movie collection, of course not including the most recent ones. We've got the Sci-Fi Classics box set, 4 movies. Mainly have it for your boy, the Giant Claw there, and Mothra. Haven't seen the other films in that set. Got Silence of the Lambs on DVD. I really need to get that on Blu-ray. Just like I have The Shining on 4K Ultra HD. Gotta love having The Shining on a good quality set. The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. This probably should be with my animation, but I like keeping it with my horror films as well. We've got... Okay, so I gotta cut in here for a second. Okay, so I just wanted to cut in again and show you guys something weird that was about my collection. So before I had that Treehouse of Horror DVD in there, this is how my collection sat for a while. With multiple copies of multiple films all in a row, which is very uncommon for my collection. It's not uncommon for me to have multiples of one film and that I don't have them on display, but it was weird that I had multiples of one film all in an order, basically. I had The Shining 4K, The Shining on HD DVD. Remember those back in the day when they thought that they could compete with Blu-rays? There was HD DVDs and Blu-rays going on at the same time. I never even had an HD DVD player, so I'm not sure how I wound up with an HD DVD of The Shining. Of course, I have The Shining on DVD as well, which I don't have in the collection. Basically, I removed these from the collection once I got the 4K one, but I still have these two in the collection. I have Sinister, the regular one, and then I forgot that I had Sinister at home, and then I got a copy of Sinister at that Family Video when it closed, because it was $1.99 and it was marked down like 90%. It was like a dime. So I had 2 copies of Sinister. One is this crappy like black and white thing that they just printed off the internet. And then I have 2 copies of The Sixth Sense. And these were all obviously in order, like alphabetically on the shelf. So I had a big collection of doubles in order. So I don't know, maybe one day I'm gonna have to give those away or find a way to sell some of the doubles or something, because I don't need an HD. Well, actually, I do need an HD DVD of The Shining. That's hilarious. But I don't need 2 copies of The Sixth Sense. I don't need a crappy copy of Sinister, so maybe that's gonna end up in a garage sale or something. But anyway, back to the normal video. All right, so moving on, we got Sleepaway Camp, classic film. We got Suspiria, another classic film, probably more classic than Sleepaway Camp. Suspiria is much more highly regarded. We got Son of Kong, which is the direct sequel to King Kong, which they rushed out a year after the original, which is insane given the special effects involved. We got Super 8. We've got The Stuff, which I watched with my wife like many years ago. I cannot believe she agreed to watch The Stuff with me. We got Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Still need to see this. I've heard many, many things about it, and I'm really looking forward to checking it out. We got They Live, another one of my favorites. We've got all the Thing films, The Thing from Another World, John Carpenter's The Thing, and The Thing from the 2010s. We've got This Is the End. I don't know why I keep this with my horror films. Probably just because it's the end of the world and Jonah Hill, gets sort of, violated by a demon. We've got Thrills and Chills Disney box set. This has like the Haunted Mansion in it, Towers of Terror, and some other stuff in there. File that one under Thrills. We got Troll and Troll 2. We got Texas Chainsaw Massacre. A couple of them. So we've got like the New Line Platinum series. That one's the remake, I believe. And then we have the original one. We got Trick or Treat, which you guys know is obviously my favorite modern horror classic from that episode of the show. We've got Tusk, one of the earliest reviews I did on my channel. I've got Twilight Steelbook Edition. I keep this with my horror films because it is vampires, it is werewolves, and you know what? It's my collection. I can put whatever I want in it. We've got Uncle Boonmee, Who Can Recall His Past Lives, another one that I've been wanting to watch for years and years and years, but I've just never gotten around to it for some reason. But I've gotta see, I mean, look at this artwork here. Like, I gotta see this film at some point. Unkindness of Ravens with the GOAT, Laurie Brewster, directing. My boy Jamie Scott Gordon starring in it. Absolutely legendary. We got Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson. Haven't seen that one yet. We've got Underworld, the first one. We've got Urban Legend, which is another film that came like boxed in with another film that I got. I can't remember what the other film is, but this is, I think Walmart used to do this at the time, where they would like have DVD sets where like it would be 2 in 1, so you'd get like some weird random movie for free. We got Videodrome with James Woods, who's most famously known now from being on Family Guy. We've got this weird vampire legend documentary by PBS. It's not a very good documentary. I don't really recommend it. We got VHS on DVD still in the wrapper here because I've always watched it on a streaming service. We've got this Vincent Price 5 movie set with a lot of his not Stephen King, who am I talking about? Edgar Allan Poe films, I apologize. The Raven, Pit and the Pendulum, Madhouse, Tales of Terror, and The Mask of the Red Death. We've got Waxwork 1 and 2 on the same set. I had 2 copies of this, but I gave one to Jared for some reason when I ordered this years and years ago, if you remember. I had Wax and Waxwork 2 copies for some reason, so I finally got rid of one of them. I gave it to my boy, Dynamite Jared, shuffling around on the floor again, as always. My back is killing me. All of this is terrible, but I love you guys, and this is why I do this. I do this for the people. We got What We Do in the Shadows, a comedy film about vampires. Of course, this is probably, I don't know if a lot of people have seen the film. A lot of people I know about the TV show that's going on now, but it started with the film. So definitely check out the film. I haven't seen the show, but I hear it's great. When a Stranger Calls, the remake. One of the first horror films that I ever got on physical media. I haven't seen it since I was probably like 15 years old. I remember liking it, but for everything that I've heard in recent years is that it's absolutely abysmal. I've heard it's so bad, but haven't gotten around to watching it in my adult life. We've got The Wicker Man, the original. We've got The Witch, of course, by your boy Robert Eggers, one of my favorites. We've got Young Frankenstein, which is, again, a comedy, but I like to keep it with my horror films. We've got Zombarella's House of Horrors. Not horrors like Buddy's House of Horror, but Zombarella's House of Horrors. Again, my dude Tony Masiello, you gotta make sure you check him out over on sovhorror.com. We've got Zombie, which is the Italian sequel to Night of the Living Dead. Very, very confusing history with the zombie films. Check out the Cinemassacre chronologically confused video for more info on that. And then Zombieland. So that rounds out all of the horror films in my Blu-ray and DVD collection. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too much of a complete disaster. But you know what? You gotta love these laid-back videos every now and then. Maybe someday I'll go through the VHSs again and the Godzilla films. Don't forget to pick up the Godzilla Criterion set. Absolutely love it. And I'm just gonna sign off for you guys. You guys have a long month ahead of you dealing with me and the House of Horror. So you know what? I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what's going on with your Blu-ray and DVD collection. Show them off to me. Let me know down in the comments. Send some pictures to me on Twitter, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just going to sign off, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow with another episode of the House of Horror. So as always, you guys, take care and stay spooky.